More with Less brought to you by Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village. You know, you look at the Broncos roster, and they have so many weapons in the passing game. Of course, you have Peyton Manning. You've got a Pro Bowl wide receiver in Emmanuel Sanders, another Pro Bowler in Demaryius Thomas, who just signed a very rich, very lucrative deal. And when an NFL team pays a guy like DT that kind of money, it usually means he's going to get used a lot. They're going to throw him the ball. So make no mistake, this team will throw the ball plenty. But not as much as in recent years, record-setting years. And why not? A lot of reasons. The quarterback is 39 years old. The offensive line is missing its Pro Bowl left tackle. They want to be more well-balanced and less predictable. They want to be more physical, and they want to tire out defenses. Lots of reasons. But the biggest reason of all, John Elway has a long memory. You remember that playoff loss in '97 to Jacksonville when the Broncos had the best record in the league and home field in Game 1? That game, Terrell Davis ran the ball 14 times for 91 yards, an average of 6.5 yards a carry. But for some reason, the Broncos didn't continue to run the ball. They didn't hold on to it. They didn't wear down that Jags defense. They didn't control the clock. Elway had a nice game, but it wasn't enough. And Jacksonville pulled off the upset. Well, Broncos head coach Mike Shanahan vowed at that point to never let that happen again. The next 6 playoff games over the next 2 years, listen to these numbers now. The Broncos ran for an average of 183 yards and threw for an average of 179 yards. They ran for more yards than they threw, and John Elway was their quarterback. In the Super Bowl win against Green Bay, I'm guessing even John would admit he wasn't very good. Yeah, everybody remembers the helicopter play, very courageous play. But nothing else about Elway's game was very memorable that day. That day, led by Terrell Davis, the Broncos ran for 179 yards. Elway threw for only 123, yet they won the Super Bowl. Believe me, Elway remembers how and why they won those 6 playoff games in a row. By the way, their 7th playoff in a row, their win in a row was the Super Bowl game against Atlanta. And against the inferior Falcons, Elway did put up 336 yards in the air, and he was the game MVP. But the 6 games before that, the Broncos absolutely dominated on the ground, controlled the clock, wore out those defenses. When Shanahan and the offensive coordinator at the time, a fellow named Gary Kubiak, by the way, went to Elway with this idea of, hey, we want to take the pressure off you and impose our will on the other team via our running game, Elway was reluctant. He had always been the man, the centerpiece of the offense, the guy ready to shoulder all the responsibility. But he'd never won a Super Bowl doing it that way. The new way, running the ball, worked. And that's why now Elway wants that way to be the Broncos' way. And that's more with less.